here at Historum.com. It's actually a comment thread begun by Okomido, entitled Octavius, Human Sacrifice and Roman Practices. And Okomido begins. Suetonius tells us that at the conclusion of Agrippa's victory over Antony's brother and wife at Perusia in 41 BC, Octavius took as many as 300 prisoners of senator and equestrian rank to the altar of the divine Julius at Rome, where he proceeded to have them sacrificed to honor his illustrious father, with several senatorial edicts concerning the abolishment of all human sacrifices between 97 BC and 81 BC. To what degree did Republican and then Imperial Rome still practice this custom, outside of the ancient religious origins of the gladiatorial games? Outside of the arena. Labienus comments, that's an excellent question. I've never really paid any attention to that event when I read Suetonius. And Scylla 1 says, I understand that this event actually happened the following year, under the consuls Calvinus and Pollio. Caius Suetonius Tranquillus himself considered the information unreliable. I guess here's a quote from Tranquillus. Some write that 300 men of both orders were selected from the prisoners of war and sacrificed on the Ides of March, like so many victims at the altar raised to the deified Julius. And there it is in Latin. However, the story was reported almost verbatim later by Cassius Dio as well. Quote, and the story goes that they did not merely suffer death in an ordinary form, but were led to the altar consecrated to the former Caesar, and were there sacrificed. 300 knights and many senators, among them Tiberius Canisius, who previously, during his tribuneship, had assembled the populace for Caesar Octavianus. It was also mentioned by the earlier Seneca Minor. Quote, such was Augustus when he was old, or just upon the verge of old age. In youth he was hot-headed, flared up with anger, and did many things which he looked back upon with regret. To compare the mildness of the deified Augustus with yours, no one will dare, even if the years of youth shall be brought into competition with an old age that was more than ripe. I have no idea what this means. Granted that he was restrained and merciful, yes, to be sure, but it was after Actium's waters had been stained with Roman blood, after his own and an enemy's fleet had been wrecked off of Sicily, after the Holocaust of Perusia and the proscriptions. You would need a scholar to decipher that. My apologies. Mandate of Heaven responds, in a Roman triumph, the prisoners of war were ritualistically strangulated, and many considered that a form of human sacrifice. Diviacus says, it's surprising there is no discussion on this subject. Is it because people don't believe Romans practice this custom, even if exceptionally? Or it disturbs our beautiful image of the Roman world? Or Roman authors have sufficiently described this custom only as barbarian? On the opposite, many discussions focus around human sacrifices among the Celts or the Carthaginians, although we have very few precise historical writings about that. Human sacrifice can be defined as a legal act accepted by religion when one or more human beings are ritually killed in public under the control of a priest to appease a god and/or to obtain protection for a community. In fact, the Romans had such a psychosis of dominance and survival that in case of extreme danger, they used this practice, and more than 50 ancient authors certify it. The sacrifices of the Vestals. I imagine they mean the Vestal virgins. It says here at the top, 23 Vestals have been sacrificed, 15 of which were before Christ. Dio Cassius relates about one of them, 483 BC. Quote, having suffered constant setbacks, Romans thought they were due to the revenge of their gods. According to the laws of their country, they buried a Vestal alive, accused of having provoked the divine angry. End quote. Livy relates the year of the defeat of Cannae. They were terrified not only by the great disasters they had suffered, but also by a number of prodigies, and in particular because 2 Vestals, Opimia and Floronia, had in that year been convicted of unchastity. Of these, one had been burned alive, as the custom is, near the Colline Gate, and the other had killed herself. Where prodigies occur, a guilty party has to be found. In these cases, the Vestals are sacrificed to appease the gods.